Hello you beautiful monkeys, your boy Kadukun, and welcome back to Invincible Versus. And we have a brand new update that dropped yesterday, which I was not expecting them to do. I was expecting it to drop maybe a few days after Combo Breaker, but they decided to just lock in and drop it immediately. So I wanted to run through the changes that they did, and I'm going to start off with the most pain in my butt, Mark Grayson. He's the biggest pain in my ass this entire game, outside of characters like Eve and so on. But we're gonna look at Eve because I have Eve on my team, but apparently they mess with my boy Rex also. So when it looks like some of the fighter updates that they have changed Mark's neutral special. So apparently with Mark's neutral special now, he has less pushback on block for slower recovery, so it should be a lot more punishable. Now apparently it was a little bit easier to punish this anyways. This move was something that I didn't really have that much issue with, because sometimes I was just get caught lacking and they would just summon their support to deal with it. But seemingly, since we have our boy already blocking, I'm assuming if we just do it, it still has a lot of pushback, because we're negative 15 on it, which is kind of crazy. That's kind of crazy. I think it was a lot less before, but it's it's a lot more punishable. So even if someone is deciding to try and mess you up before, you can punish them pretty easily afterwards, so you will be positive afterwards. What about the EX? Is the EX looking good? EX? Ooh, EX is minus 20, so that's understandable. So that's still definitely more punishable than before, so that's not too bad. Now apparently we have now the forward special, the very move that a lot of people like to use, which is the forward special, where there's the neutral skip, and I think it is a lot shorter than before. I think before, even if I was all the way back and bro's in the center of the stage, I would still hit him because it was go pretty close, because I think before you would basically be right in front of him. So this is actually not a bad change at all. The EX, obviously, it's still pretty far, it still can hit a pretty far distance, which, I mean, okay, yeah, I guess it's not the worst thing in the world. You could still, pretty much hit someone consistently. They get pushed back, but the pushback is pretty minimal. Even with the main one, they don't go far back anymore. So even when they, they're -7, when you're negative, you can punish them a lot easier compared to before, because before there was a lot of pushback behind it and you would try to punish them when you were trying to block it and it just whiffs. So a lot of Mark mains are going to be struggling with this spam now, so because I can punish you now. So Mark is a little bit less annoying now. This is still going to be probably a problem, but as long as you block, you should be fine, especially if they expect it to hit every single time. As long as you are timing it well enough, you should be Gucci. And I believe they also changed the pushback on the down special also, which, that's not bad. Yeah, the pushback is very minimal. My boy Powerplex is barely moving, so that means there's a lot of punishment behind it. And even so, -35, that's crazy. -35, so you better hope that you don't whiff this at all, because you can get punished. I'm trying to do other stuff on top of it, it's not happening. It's not happening at all, so you better hope that it can work out. And I guess I should probably talk about this also. This is more of a general fix for a lot of characters, because this is something that a lot of people have been complaining about in the game, and I kind of complained about it also. There was a lot of gaps in between the usual, they call it the magic chain in this magic chain combo, but in simple terms it's just light, medium, heavy, the usual fighting game shtick that you would do to get a little bit of motion in. And it definitely feels a little bit better, it's a little bit more consistent. I don't know if it's different for other characters, let's say if we use Rex for example, yeah, it seems to be pretty consistent for the most part. Let's try someone like Eve. Eve, yeah, there's definitely a change, but they also have the change they did where there's a true block string now. For those who don't fully understand what a true block string is, it helps to keep the defense for another character more consistent, so you are able to keep doing stuff like that to keep the pressure on, so you don't have to you don't always have to do light, medium, heavy, because sometimes that can be a problem, but you can do something like this to keep it going, and that's really good, because before sometimes you would just whiff I think sometimes it was the low light, which is, I mean, it's not too bad, but you know, it's definitely it's not a bad thing. I'll give him credit. It's not too bad because you can definitely get something going, and then if you feel like, you know, they're getting out of range, you do your special. Just hope to God they just don't, you know, block it too much so you don't lose track of where you are. But you know what? I give it credit. I'm not very good at describing like, oh, if it's like the best thing in the world. I guess the only way to really test it if like in an online match, but so far it's not too bad. It's not too bad at all. And in the magic chain, I have to probably test it out with a bunch of other characters. I'm using Mark so far because he's like one of the person I wanted to see most of the changes for, but so far already, just based off of like characters who are just on block, it feels like there's a lot more consistency with like a lot of the different movements that you can do, so you can do stuff like that. And you can already see the change there with Eve. I'm going to talk about that in a sec, but like even when you're trying to do stuff like this, you get a little bit more motion out of it, so you can probably get something going. It's not the best, but I don't know if it's like the worst. It's definitely pretty solid though. You feel like you can get a little bit something, but it's a little bit gapless. Like it's not less gapless before. Well, not gapless, it's a little bit more gapless. I forgot how to explain it. Like it's not as much gaps as before, so there's still room for you as defending to actually punish the person who might be doing a lot of offense and you think you might not be able to get out of it. Now I believe supposedly from Mark they said that the active assist out for Super 2. So Super 2 I believe is this super right here, the up and down vertical special. So I believe a lot of people didn't use that super a lot for that specific reason, because it just didn't work. So I guess you can consistently tag into it more. Seems like it. It's a little bit, you know, it seems a bit consistent. Now I didn't really use that super very often, so I don't know how much better it actually is, for all I know. But it seems like it works out. It works out pretty good. It works out pretty good. Something was interesting there. I was trying to tag out with Eve. I'm gonna hold on. Let me see something here. Hold on. Let me see something here. Hit him with this. Hit him with this. Go like this, and we go to Eve, and then we hit him with the 2H. Go like this. I was trying to do. Can you tag off of 2H's? I'm pretty sure you can. Hold on. Does Eve's thing actually not work anymore? Hold on, I gotta work on that a sec. Hold on. Now, one thing that was also changed, and I think is a really good change, because that was something that a lot of people, especially online, that would abuse online with Mark, is that the boosted forward special can no longer be active tagged into until the very end. So making it very clear that you can't just use the EX version of this when you're doing your judgment attack that happens forward. Hold on, I'm doing the wrong one, but you know. So you would do this, and before you would able to tag in the midst of it, but now you can't. I tried to do it like right there in between the combo there, it just wouldn't happen. Like I was trying to make it where I can tag in, you can't, because it was one way to get your safe active tag for Mark. So like if your Mark was about to die, it was an easy way for him to get out. So that's actually a really W change for Mark specifically. So Mark seems a lot more beatable now compared to before. Now let's move on to Rex for a little bit. Now Rex apparently got some changes also, which is kind of annoying, but I get it, because a lot of people were kind of getting mad at Mark because main people were facing Mark, but a lot of people weren't picking Rex because Mark was a meta. I was using Rex, and Rex is a really fun character to use, and one move that was very annoying was this move right here. Now they nerfed this move because this move is pretty annoying to deal with, especially if you have a character who is trying to hit them. So like if I'm in the air and I try to jump, I can, do it in the midst of an attack or someone jumping. So you can't exactly jump, you can block, but then I can, still do move and then try to mix you up. Now how they changed it is that they changed it, it's aimed further down, because before it was a little bit more at an angle, so that way you could probably do it from a decent distance, and you can get like an overhead attack, and you can just flip over and do something like this. Now to be fair, it doesn't feel like that much of a bad change for me personally, because the motion is still there. Now I can definitely feel the difference, so you most likely are just gonna have to adjust based on it, because you can't just do it like, I guess you can't do it like frame one in front of them in their face. I mean, I guess you can. Either way, I mean, it's something. it's just going to be a little bit harder to do mix-ups now because you got to do this and then you can't exactly do it as much. But what will end up happening for the most part, I can probably see already, you're just probably going to have to do it in a way where I guess you got to do a little bit of a mini hop. I don't know, because that's what it looks like to me. You just do a little bit of a mini hop and you know, do your overhead like medium or your 2H, whichever one you feel like doing. That feels like that makes sense. You do a little bit of a mini hop, do that, and then you just kind of go over it. Like, that's what it looks like to me. I don't think this is that too bad of a change. I don't mind it per se, but then I guess I would have to test it out in theory, because what ends up happening, it looks like if I do it from a certain distance, it looks like it can come out as a low to a degree. Or at least, I'm not even entirely sure how well, but it's not as consistent compared to before. Because before, if I was doing it from here, it would, you know, hit them pretty close to the low, or it would hit them in their chest, so like they would have to block. So I can't do it like at certain distances. So I, to a degree, either have to be a decently closer to them for it to actually happen. So there's a lot more room for it. But the problem is, I didn't usually use that move very close. Like, even if I was like trying to do like a very basic combo with Rex, so like say if I'm trying to do something like this, I could do something like this still. Like, it's not the worst change in the world. You can still do something crazy with it, but the problem is it's like it's not going to be nearly as consistent. And then there's also like the EX version. Like, you would just probably be more likely to do the EX version of it a lot more compared to the normal version. So yeah, it's just going to be a lot harder for you to do mix up with Rex, which not the worst thing in the world. I could just, you know, time the low, or I mean the medium a little bit better, but it's going to be a little bit harder to get the mix up. But I got to lab with him a little bit more to see how it works. Maybe it just might be a little bit better. I don't know. We'll see. Rex, but I think Rex is not too bad. The only other change that I think they did is that they changed his forward assist. So his forward assist, I'm pretty sure, is just him throwing it like the projectiles, and like the more of his, you know, fireballs forward. I mean, it says that they've changed it to where it's further forward and has a slightly increased longer recovery, which, I mean, I get, oh, okay, I see the recovery. So he still will be on the field a little bit longer, so he won't go away nearly as quickly as before. So the recovery frames, okay, I guess. So like, I mean, it's not that bad. I wasn't really using that assist very often. I'm surprised they didn't, you know, do something with his back assist, because I think his back assist is a lot more useful, especially if you want to like keep people at a distance, especially for people who like to use Mark, or people who like to use battle beasts and stuff like that to help get a little bit more extra damage, especially if they like to spam like the overheads and like the armored attacks. But either way, you know, it's not too bad. You know, Rex is doable. He might be not nearly as A tier anymore, but this move still, I think, is still, you know, viable. You just gotta have to find the window for it. I'm wondering if you can actually do something with it in the air a little bit more, because you can hit with it still to a degree when you do the EX version. So I don't know, but we'll see. Because I'm still positive afterwards. So I mean, it's not that bad of a change for me personally. Now, another change that we all have been aiming for is Eve. So we already know this. So one of the biggest pet peeves in this entire game was Eve's back assist, which was her fireball that would just win everything, and it would always just be relatively off screen. So you couldn't really stop her if you wanted to. But as we see now, she's a lot further forward now. So yeah, the projectile probably might still be really strong, but she's a lot forward, so it's a lot more punishable, as you know, before. Now the only question I have is that how much of it is that like how easy it is to punish, because according to the patch notes, because it does say it has a slightly longer recovery, but to me it doesn't feel like it's that much longer. It still feels about the same, but then maybe she has been going a lot faster. I can't really tell, obviously, because I've been mostly just been playing, so I can't really see it. So I'll probably have to look back at old footage of me playing the game to find out. But realistically, I mean, yeah, they did a good change, because that attack is now not nearly as strong as it was before. We'll just have to see if it actually is still going to be in the meta. I feel like it's still going to be, because her projectile is just way too strong. Like her fireball is just way too strong. But they did reduce her dash distance for her back dash ground, and her forward dash ground, and her forward dash in the air. So I definitely can feel that difference. Before, she was able to go a lot further away, but yeah, they removed a lot of her spacing. I didn't know if that was an issue or not, but I'm not mad at it. Because I mean, it's a little bit easier to I guess get her catch her off guard for a little bit, because then obviously if you're able to react to one of her moves, you can, you know, catch up to her a little bit easier. Now, the only two things that they changed also, so one of the biggest problems was her Super 2. So her Super 2 was pretty busted. Like, almost on wake up without fail, you know, you would win, especially if you felt like you were in a tough spot. You can just throw it out and you were pretty much safe no matter what, seemingly. Now, it seems like they said it has a slower startup on super armor and more recovery on block and less pushback on the final hit, right? So, okay, so let's try something here. Let's say we do a little bit of a knockdown. He has a knockdown, so he does a medium after a knockdown. So let's figure something out here. So, let's pretend, boom, boom, we knock him down. He gets a knockdown. We do it. There's still a lot of room for him to, like, lose. Maybe let's try a light. Let's try something different. Okay, so I tried a little bit something there, because it looks like even after I do it, so I did it, he gets a knockdown, but yeah, that's a knockdown though. He still gets a knockdown afterwards, so that doesn't really work. So let's do this. Knock him down a little bit. He's gonna do it, and now try to do it frame one. Okay. So it shows that for sure. So you can't really, I don't know if you can do that with other moves. I decided to just use a super because that's a little bit easier to knock out, because I know you can at least, you know, do certain moves. Okay, wait, see, as you can see right there, there's still room for you to win. So I guess that super is still pretty strong, but there is still room for you to, like, lose. So I do it as soon as he does it. Yeah, like you can still lose to a degree, but I don't know, bro. I think she's still kind of one of the strongest in the game, bro. Like I honestly feel like that's the case, because even when you're trying to time it, like I backed up a little bit and it still worked, and even then we canceled out right there, so that doesn't really even work. So I probably can just stand here in the corner and do it for a little bit. So it has to be like a frame one, like almost like 2 frames after she does the super, which I guess, I mean, I don't know how often you're going to be in positions where that like will happen, like especially if they have like a lot of meter. So if you're able to interrupt it the first time, then that means they waste their meter. But if they have like their full max meter, they could keep doing it and it still feels like it's like a little bit of like rock paper scissors. Now, I don't know if that is only because of Powerplex. I picked Powerplex because of his Super 2 has like the armors to it also. So I don't know how similar that is, but we'll see. But I still think Eve is probably still one of the top characters still, even with all of these changes that she has. She's a lot more punishable, but she still has it. And I know they changed like her Super 1-2 to have a little bit more range and damage to it, which, yeah, that's not bad. Like, I like it. Like, makes me feel a little bit more viable to use that super, because there's still a little bit more, you know, room for me to hit them, because before sometimes you would just whiff entirely. So yeah, that's some pretty solid choices right there. Now let's look at some other characters. So we have our boy Robot here, and I think Robot got a lot of different changes in this patch, which is interesting because I know Robot had some pretty solid tech in the game. I wasn't really maining Robot, but I was recently playing him a lot more because I liked some of his moveset. But I've heard that they actually messed with something that was a problem before. So with Robot, for Robot, one of his problems that I was having with him that I kind of noticed, but I wasn't sure if it was like intentional in the game, and maybe I was just bad, was his medium charge medium. And My bad, Powerplex. I didn't mean to turn that off. My bad. I didn't expect you to blast me like that. Damn, relax. But one thing that was having a problem before is that I couldn't really do the charged medium very easy, but now it's a lot easier. Now I can even charge it a lot easier before, because to be fair, before it was a big problem, and I actually really like this. Because Robots is one of the few characters I actually like messing with. And that actually makes him feel a little bit more like consistent as a character. I just messed it up there, but like I can actually do something a little bit more consistent with his character when I'm able to do the charged medium now. Like I have a little bit more consistent moves, so that's actually a really solid change. I will admit this is actually really cool because now I actually can do something a little bit more consistent with his character, so that's really cool. And one move they actually changed was his medium. So his air medium was one of the few moves that was pretty busted before, because it was very easy to get clipped by this move, but apparently they made it where it has more bullet range, or it's like increase the bullet speed, but they shortened the active hitbox. So I can't just be, you know, doing some dumb stuff before, because I think you were able to hit him like pretty close to like here. Like this was crazy before, but now you gotta be a little bit, you know, you gotta be a little bit up and close and personal, which is good. That's good, because that medium is not the worst in the world, but it's like it needed some adjusting. I won't lie. Like I was abusing it. I will admit I abused it. But yeah, for sure. But Robot's got a lot more consistency in his character now, which I really like, because I really like messing with Robot in this game. And apparently they increased the damage of this move, which I'm actually really happy about, because I actually like using this move. And I could definitely see that there's a change in the damage, because even the EX version before, like it felt like I wasn't doing much before, so a lot of times I wouldn't use it. A lot of times I would use it was just to active tag into other characters. So I am actually really glad that they made these changes for Robot, because now I could actually use it more accurately with his moveset a little bit more. So that's really cool. Now apparently, I didn't know this, apparently he no longer can do a air down heavy and no longer cancel into a special or super on block. So I guess before you could do something like this and cancel into a super before, which I've never done before, so that's my fault. But you can't do it on block anymore. Apparently you were able to do it on block, which I thought that was already a thing. I'm surprised that was a thing at all. So like I guess if I try to do it, yeah, I can't do it anymore. Like I just tried to do something with it, I can't do it anymore. Like it takes a fraction of a second. I can get massively punished there. But if he was not on block, it's a lot easier to deal with it before. So I can actually get it going, you know, a lot better before. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. Now we also got our boy Cecil. Cecil is one of the most annoying characters in this entire game, for me personally, alongside with Eve. So they did some changes for him. Now they reduced his dash distance for everything, and I am actually glad they did this change, because before he was able to move really far. Now it's still pretty good, but if I was in the air before and I did an EX dash, I was over your head before. So I can't just do like a random I have to do like a pretty decent, you know, overhead now to actually get there, to get to a point where I can actually, you know, do some of that stuff. So that's really good. I actually am very happy about that, because now it doesn't feel like, you know, it feels like it doesn't make sense, because obviously the dude is supposed to be teleporting all over the place, but you know, I'm not mad at it. All the dash instances he has is now been a little bit less annoying. It's a little bit less annoying compared to like other Cecils who use them more. Oh my god, Cecil was an annoying character, because just for his dashes alone. But of course they also changed his back assist, like the same thing with Eve, but he was already kind of pretty forward, you can punish it, but it has a longer recovery window apparently, so I can see it there. You actually have to see him stand up to do it now, which is a pretty solid thing. So he can still be punished afterwards. You can still probably get a happy birthday. So if you blocked it, or if you're like someone like Titan and you run through his projectiles, you can probably get the both of them before he runs off and hides into the back corner and recovers his health. And apparently also changed that his Super 2 deals the same amount of damage whether he's on the ground or the air, because I believe the other one you didn't do nearly as much damage while you were in the air, so that was actually a good change also. Now I'm just going to say this, now I'm only going to be talking about characters that I mostly use. So like there's characters like Duplicate, there's Elemental got some changes, like they changed around her air super, because I believe with Elemental they made it where her character's super, like her tornado super, you barely couldn't get that much damage if it was in the air compared to if it was on the ground. So that's a good change for people who like to use Elemental. For Duplicate, they adjusted her jumping neutral special to be a more consistent connect with all the smaller characters. So I don't know what that counts for, so I'm assuming that means for like characters like Rex or Lucan, like characters who are like, I guess, shorter by default, I guess. I don't know what's considered smaller in this. I'm assuming like skinnier, shorter, like I don't know what that means exactly. And since I don't use Kate like that, so I don't really know. And her forward special now follow-up no longer auto-corrects in facing direction, because that was the thing that was happening with her and Alan, and they changed that with Alan also, because sometimes with Alan, if you did his, I believe it's his neutral special, and I think that's what they changed, is that sometimes what would happen is like if you're able to like bait it out, or if you were able to get away from it and say you jumped over them, there was moments where he would like auto-correct in direction without you having to do anything, and then you can just continue hitting them with the neutral special, which was a very annoying thing. So sometimes you might be thinking like, oh, let me get around them, and you would still get hit because he just auto-corrects, which was an insane thing, which is crazy. Now for the last few changes that I want to show off, we have Monster Girl. Now Monster Girl is a character that I have been kind of like using like on and off, because I do kind of like her moveset, but one of the reasons why I didn't like her is because of her movement. Like her movement is arguably worse than like Titan's like movement, and Titan can at least move backwards and forwards. You can't exactly wave dash with like with Monster Girl. I mean, you can, but it's practically pointless. Like you can't, you know, go very far, because your forward one is just you jumping forward. But apparently in the changes, it says you now with Monster Girl can retain velocity on forward dash during normal attacks. So I'm assuming, yeah, that was something that I was running into when I was using, because I'm doing the arcade modes on Invincible difficulty, and it's a very annoying task, and I've been using Monster Girl because of her armored attacks. But the reason why it makes me want to restart is because of her dash, because sometimes what would happen when you would dash and you would try to do an attack, it felt like they were kind of like moving away. It always felt like you're always kind of out of reach of the person that you were fighting against. So this is a really W change. It's a really W change, which makes her actually a lot better as a character, because her EX is armored, and you can, you know, get a little bit more, you know, motion. I don't know any real proper, you know, Monster Girl combos, but you can dash, and you can do, I think those are overheads too, which actually helps out too. You now can essentially have a lot more consistency with your combos or movements, and you don't feel like you're just out of range, and you can probably do a little bit more like interesting combos before, like you can just hit them on the ground and you don't feel like you're just out of range and they can just block it. So this is really good. This is really good for Monster Girl. And I think they also changed her back assist and now further forward, which her back assist, I believe, is her when it's flying in the sky, belly flopping. So now it's more forward, and it also has a longer active hitbox, and it starts happening forward, it starts higher and has a longer active hitbox. So like if you're someone who's crouching, you have a better chance of still getting hit by it. Now, one of the things about her back assist, as like before, is that it was, I guess for me before, like I was trying to figure out how some people did it, because sometimes when I figured out how they did it, they were just kind of like spawning it and she would just fly out of the sky. But I guess she was lower before. I thought it feels like she's like shorter now. Like it doesn't feel like she's higher. You know, I guess her back assist is a little bit better now compared to before. I'm not sure. I don't know how much better it really is, because before I think sometimes you were able to like crouch under it, because it seemed like in the patch notes it says that you shouldn't be able to crouch under anymore compared to other smaller fighters, which again, still don't know what that means. So if someone can clarify that for me, that would be greatly appreciated. Now as for Powerplex, a character that I kind of been using but not really, they kind of only messed with his assists. So his back assist, obviously I believe it's his projectile, it now starts further forward and has a slightly longer recovery window. So same thing as like with like Eve's, but the thing is he's not further forward. I mean, he's kind of behind me. Like I don't know if that matters, like if I'm using Battle Beast, would that really matter? Yeah, like he's behind me, so he's not really forward. So I don't know what they mean by forward. I don't know if that's like the case, because it feels like he's still out of range. Because before he felt like he was forward. Like you could, you know, punish it if you really want to. I guess he was further back before. I don't know. Maybe that was the case. But I didn't really use Powerplex very often. So for those who are Powerplex mains, or you can, you know, confirm for me. But it also says his forward assist no longer causes flip and allowing defender to recover faster. So if he does his forward assist, it doesn't cause a flip. I guess it was causing flips before, which is interesting. I don't know if people were doing, I don't know if that was happening for people. I don't know. Like I said, if you're a Powerplex main, let me know because I have no idea. Because it looks like it's pretty normal, so I guess it's mainly meant for people who just wants to get a little bit of extra damage in, you know, for their movements. I guess they were flipping before, so that's kind of crazy. I don't know why it was flipping, but I guess you are able to now, I guess, recover faster if you were hit by it or if you blocked it, so you can probably jump on it if you're on block, I'm assuming, but I'm not fully sure. And the only other thing that they changed for Battle Beast, they didn't change anything else about him seemingly, is that you can actually now active tag into his Super 2, because his Super 2 is just him doing, no it's not, oh yeah, I just did it like an idiot, but it's the one where he's like going in the air and you just do this, and people wouldn't really use that super because it didn't do much. I don't know what they mean by you can active tag into it. Yep, there you go, you can now active tag into it, because yeah, that was one of the reasons why people weren't using it either. You couldn't really tag into it at all, which kind of felt pointless, because I mean, like, what's the point of me doing that? Because even with Titan, you can active tag after his, you know, Super 1. So that's I guess that was a W change to make people use it a little bit more. But then again, the only problem I have with that Super 1, there's not very many opportunities for you to use it where it makes sense. Like, you can't like do a knockdown and do it. You have to you can't really do a 2H and do it. So like, you kind of have to do it at moments where it makes sense. Like, I guess you could do it there, but even then, I don't know. Like, I don't use Battle Beast like that. Battle Beast is like a character I don't really care to use personally, but it's like there's not many moments I can think of off the top of my head where that super works. So I guess they would still have to rework a way for where, I don't know, where it makes sense for them to do it, because it's a very air one. Like, I guess you can probably use it as an anti-air for people who are just flapping it around in the air like Eves and stuff, but then still, like, I don't see real moments for you to actually get this off very often. So I mean, it's a W change, but it doesn't really make you want to use it much more either way. So I turned off the auto regen for a lot of the assists. Now this is one thing that is more for general changes. So they changed it to where counterattacks can now put attacker assist characters on 5-second cooldowns, which is interesting. So I guess if I decided to say, so let's say if I get him to a point where he has to counterattack, so all of your assists are now on 5-second cooldowns, as you can see right there. That's kind of crazy, which makes it a lot harder. So like, if you are trying to do it and you time it, it makes actually incentivizes people to get it off more often, because now they're no longer have assist. I can just spam out of it, which I guess that's one of the things that they're trying to do, is that people are trying to like spam their assist or their tag outs as soon as, you know, you counter tag. Because one of the reasons with counter tag is that it's cool and it's good to get it off, but it didn't really feel like if you were struggling beforehand because someone was using either Eve or Cecil or any other assist that was giving you a lot of problems, you couldn't really do much of anything because it really wasn't doing much to help your case. So like, but now it's a lot easier. So that means if they have their assist off, you can jump in a lot easier, and you have 5 seconds where they don't have assists, so you have room for them to screw them over, but they have room to counter tag you. So it's a good like back and forth. So that's a really W change. And they also said that happy birthdays are a bit happier, so you now can damage scale correctly and assist take 100 more damage on hit. So it's making it easier for you to kill your assists if they just happen to get caught lacking. So that, I will give them credit, that's actually a really solid change. Another thing that they also said is that forward throws can now chain into active tabs more consistently, because that was one thing that I was having struggles with, because sometimes I was really having problems with the forward throw and counter tagging, because sometimes, you know, you catch someone slacking and you want to be able to keep your combo going, because, you know, people be blocking. Oh, so yeah, so you see it drops there in the corner at least. But one thing that I was having is like, yeah, I wanted to be able to be like, oh, let me counter tag into somebody else. But I guess if they hit the ground, it's still a little bit harder to get it off. Because even when I was able to get it a second ago, so I guess you have to do it like at the height of everything. But I don't know if it's different. Let's see if it's there in the corner. So if I do it in the corner, okay, it still can happen. I guess sometimes it can still drop either way, even though if you're doing something good. But yeah, no, that's a pretty good W change also. That's a W change also. But one thing that they also said that they changed a lot of things about assists. So assists can be used in combos and now scale according to how many times that they have been used. So for forward or back assists will scale independently. So I don't know entirely how exactly this works. So it says forward assists will scale for 3-second intervals up to 12 seconds. So it can go to 3, 6, 9, and 12. So that's for forward assists. So I'm assuming this is for during combos, right? So she has 3 seconds. I did a back assist. Back assists are 6 seconds. Or I guess it says like scale up for 2-second intervals up for 12 seconds. So I guess if you do something depending on the combo, I'm not entirely sure what they mean by that, because I don't know how exactly it scales, because I just did one combo with, Titan. I lost 6 seconds, but I don't know how exactly what they mean by the intervals. So if I'm like, does it mean that if I'm doing a combo to let's say I do this and I keep going, do a back assist here, push forward, they're on cooldown, whatever, cool, and then I keep doing a combo, I do a back assist again, is it going to be 6 seconds again? It's 6 seconds again. So I'm not entirely sure what they mean by this. So does that mean that I have to like keep the combo going for a very long time? Like, is it one of those things where like if you do a TOD or you're trying to get someone like on block, does it like keep going up and up and up and up until it hits 12 seconds and that's the highest it would ever be? I'm not sure. Someone has to test that out for me to know. I'm not entirely sure to see for sure. And apparently they fixed a bug where there was a back assist would have received like a 3-second cooldown rather than 6 seconds, which is crazy. I didn't know that was a thing that was going on. So that's probably why a lot of people were using like Cecil and Eve. They were probably like people were accidentally abusing that kind of unintended bug. So hey, shout out for them to like getting rid of that. So that's actually a really solid thing. And that's most of the changes that I want to actually show off in the patch notes for Invincible Versus right now. I'm also going to do a video right after this, going into the ranked online, seeing how exactly it's really feeling in the online space right now. But I do know also that they have been running into this problem that I just saw, that Mark has been having this infinite loop with his back assists that obviously this definitely should be not an existent thing, that shouldn't be happening, and then obviously you can still continue after that, which is kind of crazy, because then that means I can do something like this and keep going afterwards. That's insane, bro. That's insane. So yeah, they're definitely gonna hotfix it, and I think they already made a tweet saying they're gonna hotfix this at some point. But yeah, no, Mark right now is still kind of broken, and I understand people are probably gonna abuse this, so be wary for those who are all going online playing Invincible Versus right now. But yeah, but right now, other than that, and I'm pretty sure there's some other problems, because I think I saw something with Titan where it seemed like they actually messed up his forward super to where people can actually recover out of it, which I don't know if that still is actually happening. Let me see if I can actually replicate it really quick. I mean, I'm not able to replicate it at this point in time, so I'm assuming like it's a circumstantial one, so I guess it doesn't happen very often. But we'll see. We'll see how what other changes that they might have not intended. We'll find out in like the next few days, because the patch just went live yesterday. So we're gonna learn in the next few days, most likely in a week. But yeah, let me know if you guys like videos like this where I'm breaking down patch notes after the day after. I like doing it like the day after, because like at least people have their hands on it a little bit instead of it being on the day one. Don't forget to subscribe for more videos like this also, and I'm going to be doing another Invincible Versus video also, most likely going to be uploaded tomorrow, so look out for that as well. It's your boy Kadukun. I'll see you guys next time, and peace.
FMA, handle business, don't play. On point when it comes to the anime. Jack and Daxter, ayy, let's go. The ultimate heroes, don't stop, we on the road. Kadu-kun, Kadu-kun, yeah, welcome to the